Paper mache deserves a place in every maker's toolkit. When people hear paper mache, they often think messy kids' crafts. But in reality, it's one of the most accessible and versatile sculpting mediums, and for all of us. With just a few inexpensive materials, you can create everything from decorative bowls and masks to detailed sculptures and costume props. In this video, I'll go through the basics of paper mache and go through the different methods because there are a few. Watch till the end and you'll be able to turn simple materials into something truly impressive for your next project. Paper mache, or papier mâché as I've always called it, here we go. I'll start with traditional paper mache where we need strips of paper. Newspaper is ideal, and we can also use brown paper packaging. These are great for making use of what we have and recycling materials. Tear up the paper just like this. The smaller the piece that you're going to make, the smaller the pieces of paper can be. I like to tear up and prepare plenty of paper before I make the paste up, so it's there ready to use when we need it. Paper mache needs to be created around a structure. The most traditional and simple structure is a balloon. So let's start with this, but I have lots of other options later on in the video. Here on Red Rockingbird, I love to create items out of air-dried clay, and one of the items I make often are bowls. And so that is one thing I want to show you, the real simple traditional way to make a papier mâché bowl. Because balloons don't have a stable base, we've taped it to a bowl to hold it down. They don't have to be round. Balloons come in all shapes and sizes, so you can have lots of fun here. For the paper mache glue or paste, the most basic and cheapest option is flour and water. I have half a cup of flour and half a cup of water. I find I then add another dash of water just to get it to the consistency I like, and then a large teaspoon of salt. Salt or a little bit of vinegar help preserve the paste and holds back mold from wanting to grow. Then it's a case of dipping the paper into the paste, removing the excess, and smoothing it over your structure, slightly overlapping each piece until you have one layer fully covered. If you're anything like me, then yes, this traditional papier-mâché method is a little messy. The options after this aren't quite as messy. The balloon has had one layer. Once a layer is complete, let it dry completely between layers. That's why it's perfect on a really sunny day like today. Or place the piece somewhere warm. A good tip for knowing where you've been on each layer is to change the colour every time, and so that's why I alternate between the newspaper and the brown paper, and you can also use something like a toilet roll. We're creating the bowl upside down on the balloon, and I want to create a foot or a stand onto the bowl, so I take some corrugated card, form it into a circle just like this and tape it together, and then I can tape this as a foot on the bowl, and we can carry on with the papier mâché on top of this. This is a great way for being able to build on and make any kind of shape with a starting point with something like a balloon or a ball or something inside. I'm using a masking tape just to temporarily hold this in place. I now carry on with the papier mâché, and this is going to be the third layer of paper. The glue mixture really does dry quite quickly, especially on a warm day like this. I add the strips of paper here, really making sure I go over that join, and we're going to make the join there really strong. With a form like this where the balloon is going to be removed, I recommend up to 6 layers to make it really strong. But if the internal structure is going to stay inside, you can do 2 or 3 layers. I'll share an example of that later. You may wonder how much paste we need for a piece like this. So far I've done 3 layers and I've used that half a cup of flour. So I made up some more paste with another half a cup of flour for the rest of the project, as I'm going to cover this in 6 layers. I love to make this kind of project about using what you have. Here I have some blue paper towels, and so we can also use these. These are very thin too, so give a finer finish. It doesn't take too long to add the layers, and you really don't need to get that messy either. The important thing is to really dry the piece well between layers. This has now had 6 layers of paper mache, and we leave it to dry fully. Just as we touched the balloon, it popped, and there we have it, our dish, nice and firm and ready to shape more if we wish. You'll like this little trick for drawing a straight line, it's super easy. And because this is just paper, it cuts easily with just scissors. You can sand it down at this stage, and I think it looks really pretty as it is. But I'm adding a layer or two of white gesso, or you could use acrylic paints. The shapes and the design you can create with these really are as wild as your imagination. I think it's really quite amazing what you can create out of just some cardboard. Yes, a few other ingredients too, but fundamentally it is cardboard, the amazing paper mache. I'll paint this one up all pretty, and you can take a look on Instagram on my progress at Red Rocking Bird. You know I mean paper, not cardboard, but it feels like we've turned that paper into cardboard. Let me show you paper mache option 2. This paper mache paste uses glue, white PVA glue. The ratios for this paste are 1 part glue and 1 part water, although I like to leave a little bit of the water out and not dilute it quite that much. The paste doesn't want to be too runny, there needs to be just a little bit of body left in it. But any ratio around 50-50 will honestly work. Different PVA glues have different consistencies, so work with what works for you. Working with an old paintbrush makes it less messy. For this piece I'm making a paper mache mask. I'll put a link in the description below for the template. This is a great example of taking some thin card, making it into the shape you want, and then adding some paper mache over the top. This is my fox or wolf mask, but you can repeat this process with any design or shape. I coat both sides of the strips of paper with the glue mixture, brush them down with my brush, and then let them dry. The glue mixture dries really quickly. Here I overlap the details so I can cut out that detail with the scissors. When I take a break with the project, I tend to put my brush with the glue on it in a bag like this, make sure it's fully sealed, and then I can carry on and use it again in a few hours' time, just like I am doing here. This mask is the 1 layer of thin card, 1 layer of brown papier mâché with the glue mixture, and now I'm just pasting over another layer of the PVA mix. And that's it. For a piece like this, 1 layer of the paper mache is enough, and then it can be painted. This is a layer of gesso on the inside. With this method and just 1 layer, it really is quite sturdy and robust, and that is all you need, and it remains flexible and ideal for masks like this. I can of course paint it up, and I will do that, but here you can see how effective this paper mache is going to be. If you want to create, for example, something like a 3D paper mache animal, we can scrunch up some paper or similar, or some tin foil. Tin foil is quite good as an extra sculpting medium, and you can really bend it well around a piece. Create that structure just like we had a balloon at the beginning. Here I've shaped a small whale, and over the tin foil for paper mache I like to just add masking tape over the top. It's not necessary, but I like to add this over the top for adding on the paper mache after this. This form or structure can then be covered in the paper mache strips, either with the glue or the flour paste. And we really can get great designs when creating anything in this way, either with the balloon or an internal structure. If you want that little bit more detail, I have another solution for you next. From an old box, I cut out my mask shape once again. I've got some small strips of my newspaper, adding some boiling water over the top to let it soak, and we're going to make some papier mâché clay, some paper mâché clay. The heat from the water helps loosen the fibres, and we're going to mulch this up, make it into a lovely clay that we can sculpt with. I have a blender here that I use just for crafts. Definitely don't use your kitchen one if you want to use it in the kitchen again. Alternatively, if you don't have a blender, why not use some toilet roll instead of the newspaper, which breaks up a lot easier. This newspaper is all blended and so soft now. We need to squeeze all of that water out, the majority of it anyway. Using a sieve does make the process a little easier too. I've squeezed out the majority of water and we're left with this. Next I add some white glue, some PVA glue. The quantities here are about 1 part paper and 1 part glue. Mixing them up thoroughly so they combine nicely to this lovely paste. With these 2 ingredients, yes, you can use it just as it is. It's okay to work with, but if you want to take it to the next level, then I like to add some corn flour, some cornstarch. I add enough spoons of this so it makes approximately about 1/3 of the mixture, and then just a little bit of salt because we're adding that flour to help preserve it. Already you can see the mixture coming together to a more clay-like consistency. Pinching a piece and rolling it, you can really see how it holds its shape. So this is a really great papier-mâché clay that we can sculpt on our pieces and really use to add that detail. If we want to take the papier-mâché to the next level again, we can add a spoon of joint compound or modelling paste, all of which is not necessary but a good next step. I thoroughly mix everything together to get it ready to use. The mixture smooths on really well and can give some really great texture, but if you'd like to have it on really smooth, I suggest using something like a knife and you can really smooth it on really well. The papier-mâché clay then takes on lots of lovely detail really well and easily too. Support the form while it's drying. For this one, I'll dry it over a bowl because the moisture can draw into the cardboard and make it soft again, but I'm leaving it to dry fully. We can actually buy papier-mâché in a powder form too that you just add water to, and that's what I'm doing here, taking a cheap plastic plant pot and transforming it into a stone pot. So the kind of papier-mâché projects you want to create, there are so many possibilities available. The papier-mâché clay really does give another dimension, and here it is before I've painted it. It's quite firm and a bit more sturdy than this method, and as you can see you get a lot more details and it's great fun to experiment with that one. I love the texture that I've been able to add on the edges, as that just gives that feeling of the fur. So it's definitely a great one to experiment with. And just gives you that extra dimension. I'll also paint this one up and you'll be able to see my progress on Instagram. We can have a lot more fun with the papier-mâché too. On this one I tore out some words and added them in, and great fun. A really quite arty piece, and I love the way this one's turned out. Important note, when papier-mâché is fully dry, make sure you seal it. This will hopefully prolong its life and stop it from going soft again. I hope this video has given you some papier-mâché inspiration and you want to go away and create something for yourself. If you have any questions at all or any comments, please do comment below. Thank you for watching and I'll see you in my next creative video.